And throughout their first series against LCG, I think it was probably the most dominant series we've seen, which is saying a lot considering the only other series we've seen was also a dominant affair being displayed by No Clout, their opponent here. So this could get very, very interesting now. And I'm looking to see what kind of DPS picks they want to select because, again, when you go with Jesus and Ezire, you're typically going to see Jesus on the Tracer. You're typically going to see Ezire either on the Soldier or the Genji. So they could possibly play a Widowmaker into this right now. And if that's the case, what kind of picks are they going to be able to find with it? Especially going into a very kind of defensive, very passive type counter dive strat. Of course, incorporating the Ana here back on the point.
It's always lovely to see her back in play, however, and might see Jer still do big things with the likes of the Bionades and Sleep Darts, but on the other side, Sugar Free, of course, will be trying to hunt him down. However, denied in terms of the light of sights for now. Finally gets a shot onto the opposing Diva for now. Hard Blue feeling a bit of that pain, but overall, still be Sugar Free. Not finding too much success on the Widowmaker for now, but just considering the fact that the rest of his team can collapse onto the payload and really make things difficult here for Kungarna, we might see him being enabled overall.
This is an interesting hold, especially because of how safe Jer and Haku are. I mean, Jesus is going to be able to poke and prod. Ezire's super safe here, just kind of insulated with these healers, and holding out with LOS on this blue box is going to be incredibly important for Harblue and Vita Coco. And again, remember back how impressive this tank lineup looked from Kungarna. Harblue, of course, really stepping up his game, I would say, especially on Diva.
And very nice to see Jeffrey also on that Tracer winning out those battles, which can be the means to, and then in terms of holding or pushing this point. But so far, we'll see him not try and find an angle. The decent will happen, however. Hawk a bit too aggressive there, means that he will go down. Wow. And Jeffrey with a really good pulse bomb on Little Menace could definitely stop this push from No Clout for now, at least.
And they're putting the pressure on, keeping it, holding the gas pedal down so that they can find a late kill there onto Paintbrush as well. Coming into this next fight, again, their supports just have not felt any kind of pressure so far. Hypnot went through with Hawk just before, but they were warded off completely. When you jump in and you get antied, when you get discorded, when you get pressured down by a soldier as well, it's hard to make those kind of plays, find that kind of space for your team, especially now as Sugar Free is trying to find some picks with the Infrasight up.
See if he's gonna have a little bit more success, as we'll see the Nano Boost go down onto Vita Coco, now looking to cleave for those targets. Pulse Bomb is gonna be successful to Hobbs, shutting down Haku, and with these two kills, they might have just finally created the space they need, but Harblue gets a self-destruct kill onto Sugar Free, so one answer is good, but the Resurrect will be there. Harblue unable to punish that Resurrect, but Ezire gets a good kill off of the Helix onto Hobbs, but is it going to be enough, as the rest of this team is still gonna look to push the payload? Vita Coco under a lot of pressure, but stays alive somehow. Be able to get a little bit of health back up. Does have that primal rage if need be, but overall, this does give enough time here for Kungarna to regroup and get another defensive stall potentially here.
What's also important is that Vita Coco was able to get his barrier back up from cooldown, so he's going to be able to engage this fight. They're going to have support ult from Transcendence from Haku to just sustain this fight here. Vita Coco early on the Primal Rage to support his own life, to sustain now, and to create some pressure now, LOSing off everybody that's in security. And they're going forward. Haku with the Transcendence. They're already losing bodies, dropping right now. And Hobbs trying to sustain this, throws out the Pulse Bomb, doesn't find anything just yet. And again, Vita Coco beamed up by the Nano Boost, trying to keep this fight alive. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Paintbrush securing himself a Transcendence for the next one. But for now, this looks all but secured for No Clout.
Ooh, that could have been really dangerous, but we did see Ezire just being instantly shut down by this tank lineup, as Hypnot is going to kill him again. This time on the Genji, however, and this is definitely looking much better now for No Clout, as they still have both support ultimates available, and those are definitely the most important ones, even going further into this next team fight coming out here very soon, as they look to set up on that high ground. No Clout, that is, but Sugar Free looking for those shots will get Haku really, really low, so unable to find too much of an angle. And Ezire now back on the Soldier. See whether or not that will be better overall, but Winston now dropping it really low. Sugar Free, he's gonna find a little bit of pressure too, but it's gonna be him picking out that win and that engage in the end.
And now we'll see Sugar Free try to get away from this. Diva Bomb, he does manage to kind of sidestep it a little bit. Now looking for some picks again as Jesus goes down. It's time to the hands of the Monkey Hypnot. At the forefront right now, looking to try to get his Primal Rage so he can reset. Not going to be the case. Defense holding on for now. Ezire on this high ground, putting some pressure now onto Sugar Free, who gets Biotic Grenaded, and that allows the kills to come through, but still pushing through is going to be Hobbs. We see the Mercy, Little Menace hanging on the point as they found a kill there. They find the res onto Hypnot as well, opening things up. It's getting ever closer. Can they secure it? Hobbs sneaks it through.
Oh, not quite going to be enough here, and even though Zyra did get a late kill, it will be overall no Clout once again, getting that payload through, and definitely a questionable use of that Transcendence there as Haku a bit too late into that one. And even in that previous engage on that first point, when he used it, I think he used it to try and heal up Harblu's mech, but it was a little bit too late, and as a result, once again, it will be no Clout with those ultimate advantages, and still looking really good for them. Pulse Bomb's gonna go through, finds the targets onto Jur, and Transcendence gonna come out of Paintbrush, looking to secure another team fight win for them.
It's the ultimate test here to see how Kungarna is looking after really dominating this last matchup that they had against LCG. They didn't look that great in the Beat Invitational, but can they turn things back around now? They're holding on for dear life at the moment as Harblu loses his mech. They're backing up. They don't have the ability to keep Vita Coco safe. He doesn't have his Primal Rage either. And no support ults to keep him alive, so it's just all about mechanical abilities. Can you put some pressure now onto the main line? Can you try to be able to at least create some space here and now? Jesus with a nice pick alongside Ezire. They dive right onto Sugar Free. They're now cleaning things up. They're going through a stick now onto the mech, takes him down. Hawk will fall to Haku, and more pressure being applied now as Kungarna look to follow up.
Finally, Kungarna stabilized after that disastrous snowball coming through from that first point take, and they will build up quite a few ultimates of their own, so all of a sudden things looking better on their end, whereas on the other side, at the very least, if Sugar Free finds a couple more picks, if he gets in an advantageous high ground position, things could still look really good for them, especially since he will indeed find one kill onto J Free already, stepping it up once again with a 6v5.
And now the Nano Boost comes out, the blade to follow. Ezire looking for a kill in the back line. Onto Paintbrush, now applying pressure to the tanks. Will be able to clean up Hypnot. His natural counter goes down. Big opening, big space allowed for Ezire now to go forward. Pressure out the Widowmaker, but they fall back. They will be able to stay alive for one more fight here. Make sure that they get their tank back up and into this next one. Hypnot holding onto the Primal Rage. We'll see Haku holding onto a Transcendence himself. So now, can Sugar Free find these opening picks to give themselves an advantage into this next fight and possibly secure out this last objective on Gibraltar?
We'll see Vita Coco instantly be on top of him, however, really trying to deny him alongside the likes of Azire, and we'll see that Valk be popped pretty early by Little Menace, looking to get an advantage off of it. Self-destruct will be used. Can it find any targets? No, but the Transcendence will be used. However, Vita Coco finds one kill in return, and Harblu with a big self-destruct gets Little Menace out of the skies, and as a result, with a 6v4, no mercy on your side. It should be overall still better for Kungarna, but no Cloud. Retaliate. One kill onto Jur. Hypnot gets the D-suit, however, Haku find a kill, would make that a double kill onto Hobbs as well. As Zyre gets another one. These late kills, now that we're into overtime, should mean Kungarna will stabilize in the end.
Zyre making that swap to the Genji, man. We've seen it before, we saw it again. Able to help clean things up. Really looked good with Vita Coco there as well. You know, saw some dives in conjunction with J3 Jesus on the Tracer. I mean, so far, this doesn't look like Kungarna has swayed at all. I mean, yeah, they have to go through an attacking phase themselves, but their first point was phenomenal. They barely let it go in the second phase, in the ship phase, where it just got snuck by Hobbs, if I'm not mistaken, on the Tracer. So, I mean, throughout this map, they held quite well. Every single phase looked all right. The second phase probably being the least of which, but still, throughout first and third, they looked quite good. And Ezire went back over to Soldier for a second to try to get some high ground control. They just weren't able to get him into position to be able to make that hold. So Now, as you go on to their attacking phase, you have to wonder what we're going to see from LCG. Are they going to be able to prevent, some picks coming out from a Widowmaker themselves? Because this is potentially the first time we're going to be able to see Ezire go over to a Widowmaker. He could always pull out the Genji, and we could see something quite different from them, but just going back over to a more standard dive that we've seen before. But if the Widow comes out, which is possible, how are they going to be able to deal with that? Because they don't have the same support lineup that we saw before. Yes, it's nestled in the same position, but Ana isn't going to be able to answer a dive Mercy isn't going to be able to answer the dive in the same way that an Ana can. So it's going to be a little bit different when we see some aggression coming from Vita Coco and Harblu.
Maybe looking to counter a few of the picks that would happen, as they did seem to like that Mercy onto Little Menace, and it will be interesting to note whether or not they will get punished if Kungarna really spots that one out. But over on their end, Jer will be on a Mercy of his own, so it will be interesting to see and follow him in his adventure alongside Ezire. As I say that, he'll go ahead and use this Beyond Sonic arrow duty to scout things out instead. Now finally we'll go back to the Mercy. And another big thing that happened in that first point defense was J3 also winning out on those Tracer duels, which really made things even more difficult for the offensive side to get any angle really onto this first checkpoint.
And look at this position by Ezire now on the Widowmaker. He's just popping things off. If anybody pops up over this blue box, Ezire's taking a headshot clean off of it. So then as they actually get some pressure and they pull him into server room, he's going to have that ideal sight line to play with to put pressure onto the high ground control that is going to be Sugar Free. And he falls right away. Ezire has opened up the site for them. 6v5 advantage for Kungarna.
And we'll see the rest of No Cloud now collapse onto the payload, looking to get a high ground advantage potentially afterwards, as their support lineups are up there. But overall, it's still all about Kungarna, as Harblu is going to be able to get a D-suit and the kill onto Hawk. Haku finds Hobbs. So overall, this should be eventually Kungarna winning out another one. And considering the staggered kills as well, and the slide positioning advantage in favor of the offensive side, Ezire is going to be able to pick up a double kill at that. And with these late kills as well, I just don't see how No Cloud can find any answer before the payload reaches the checkpoint, and so much time available for Kungarna now as well.
And bringing in the Mercies as well, so both sides operating with a Mercy. And I saw something in chat before about, the Mercy change and what people thought versus, the expectation versus reality thing. And it was both double Mercy, man, both sides back in play. But nonetheless, Ezire gonna be dropped there by Hypnot, going very aggressive here in the ship phase, the hangar phase. And as we do see him jumping up on the high ground, they're gonna try to take them out. Self-destruct coming out though. Everybody gonna be able to get out of that line of sight there. And now we're gonna be seeing Jer coming through, as Little Menace already did pop his Valkyrie. It's Jer's turn now. Do they need the Resus, or can they sustain without it?
Oh, it's gonna be Ezire getting a kill onto Little Menace, but Hobbs doesn't manage to find a pulse bomb kill onto Haku, but Jer might be able to bring it back up, and we'll have that transcendence into this team fight if need be, as J3 picks up another kill, this time onto Sugar Free. Looking for more self-destruct though. He's going for those targets, doesn't quite angle it good enough, and as a result, Paintbrush will still find a kill in the end. And first side will come out as Ezire. He picks up a kill onto Hobbs, and they will look to clean things up, get that second checkpoint, as well as Sugar Free did make the swap over to the Genji himself.
So he's looking to re-engage, put some pressure onto Ezire, who's just got so much space to work with lately, and Transcendence was patiently held onto by Haku. Now going to pull it out just to try to sustain Vita Coco in this fight. Ezire going to be able to get some of that healing as well, as he's just taking a different angle, a different approach. Harblu taking Hawk out of the equation, and Jer again just getting massive charge, getting the res off onto Vita Coco as well to bring their Winston back into the fight, and they're just going to be surging forward effortlessly so far. Brunch, this is again a totally different Kungarna than what I was expecting to see today.
Definitely stepping it up big time, as even as you said, Harblu, considering his performance on Diva during Beat Invitational, this is like a whole different new perspective coming out from him, because he managed to get a triple kill in that team fight and also secure that payload on that second checkpoint. So really well done by him. However, Paintbrush and Little Menace will still have those support ultimates available, looking to potentially finally stabilize things here for No Cloud, as they have quite a lot of time to really just hold onto dear life here on this payload to make sure they don't get that final checkpoint.
I mean, you bring in all the answers. You bring in a Genji. You bring in a Widowmaker of your own, but nothing will work. Ezire will rip it down time and time again. They're looking for more here as Paintbrush will go get discorded out of his Transcendence. We see the self-destruct try to turn things around, just finding a little bit of damage, and that's going to be Haku's turn now as he pulls through, supporting his teammates. The blade comes out. Can they finally turn this back around? It's a fight in the air between the blades. Sugar Free will be able to find the kills that he needs before finally dying off, and the attacking team now going to be brought back to their respawns as No Clout finally finds a way to make a stop.
And Hobbs will pop that in for side, but that was really, really close. 1 or 2 different kills going in the way of Kungarna could have definitely been enough for them, as we'll see Vita Coco good to go with the Primal Rage. No other ultimates on both sides, however, being built up anytime soon, and as a result, it should be an interesting one that will come down to those early few picks that could happen. As, of course, those resurrects, while they can still come out, they should be instantly punished by whoever will be going through for it. But Harblue now, alongside Vita Coco, will look and get a kill onto Hypnot. Will not be successful. Hobbs still looking for some damage onto those tanky lineups. All the way in the back will not be too successful as Ezire gets him again.
Harblue going through, needs to stay alive here. He'll fall out of his mech, but it won't amount to much right now. We'll see these respawns coming back as Ezire found those opening kills, but look at what Hobbs is coming back into the fray with. Bringing out the Bastion, doesn't really have a good sightline on anything as Jesus will then fall as he tried to get a sneaky, cheeky little pulse bomb. Won't find a kill there. And again, it looks like that's all they need. Kungarna still trying to hang on though, as we see a little bit of a flank. And for sight, gonna pop that out. Ezire, of course, giving that information over to his team with the Widow ult, and you like to see that. But now Haku trying to find a pick. They're trying to put some damage onto Hobbs. He gets low. That's going to force out Paintbrush's Transcendence, and they're still hanging on for dear life now. Hobbs trying to get, again, another off angle. Self-destruct comes out. Will they find the kills? They do not. Actually, they find the kill on the Paintbrush. That's massive.
Jerry now bringing Ezire back into the fray. Could be very dangerous here for the defensive side of No Clout as Harblue picks up another kill, this time at the Sugar Free, and the Bash is still gonna shoot away, but can it be enough as that payload is also close to that final checkpoint? 10 configuration is gonna come out. However, the kills is only going to be 1 on the side of a J3 who picks up the revenge kill, but Ezire is gonna still be all about him on that kill feed as he picks up 2. The Resurrect is gonna come in clutch though by Lil Menace as he's gonna bring Hypnot back into the fray as well on that payload, but is it going to be enough overall? Still looking good for the offensive side, especially since Ezire's left to his own devices. Good to go with those kills, good to go with those shots. Sugar Free left on that payload, but for how long? As he's gonna go down, Hypnot's gonna come back in, but again, it should be Kungarna winning in the end.
I mean, we've spent so much time, or at least I've spent so much time, talking about Ezire hyping up the performance that we've seen from him, but that's honestly kind of just allowed for me to criminally underhype Jesus. Now, I'll give him an opportunity. I mean, he kind of saved that fight there with that stick, with the pulse bomb, taking Hobbs out of that tank configuration. That was massive. He's been silently just kind of dealing these deathly blows to be able to secure objectives for his team. Really doing a good job on Tracer so far, but that's just map 1. We've got at least another one coming your way. Don't go anywhere, guys. Map 2 will be on the other side of this commercial break.
We are live once again from the analysis desk. Kungarna, again, very impressive to say the least. They were looking great on defense. On offense, they snowballed for the first 2 points. And then it feels like no Clout was just trying to avoid the inevitable as they forfeited at the end.
Yeah,
so to
basically
say,
just put out a fire that was just keeping on growing in intensity, and overall Kungarna definitely coming out on top of that one. And the problem for No Cloud is the fact that even moving forward, the next map will be Anubis, I believe, which already we've seen how dominant Kungarna can really be on.
yeah, and we'll also seen in the previous match, Izar was getting kills all the time on Hopes, and if he goes Fiddle here, I prefer him on Genji, but still, if he goes Fiddle here, he has a good shot to make it easy for his team. And yes, they were looking very great on Temple of Anubis, but it does feel that LCG didn't really know how to approach this map, and I feel like that was the biggest problem. Why the last time we actually saw Temple of Anubis being so short.
And at the very least, even going into this one, I'm curious whether or not Haku will once again go for the Sombra, because overall, it was one of the big reasons why they kept on winning so many team fights and really not even needing to use too many ultimates.
Yeah.
And just make sure that in terms of that eco, in terms of those ultimate economies, they were on top every team fight.
Yeah, his EMPs were definitely making his teams work easier, as they didn't really need to use any of the ults. They were basically saving only land EMP, and that's about it. Now, it does seem that No Cloud is going to start on defense. Do you think this is a boost they need in order to get back into this series?
It's going to be potentially that, but on top of it, I'm curious whether or not either of these teams will bring in some substitutions. We've seen Voil seen some play when it comes to that assault map previously for this team of No Clout, so that could be one of the big potential things to turn things around in their favor. But at the same time, Kungarna could also bring the likes of Apply in this lineup.
Yeah, Voil was looking good on Farah before, as you said, on Hanamura. I believe he made the move that basically allowed his team to capture the first point, even though they were looking kind of in a dire situation, so to say. Now, looking on the previous match, what do you think No Cloud has to fix in order to compete against Kungarna?
Well, when it comes to their defensive side, at the very least with the first point, we touched upon it a bit on the cast, but when you have a Mercy instead of the likes of an Ana, when the opposition dives on top of that high ground, they were really left with no choice in terms of their defensives for their own. And Mercy, of course, not as battle ready as Ana, meant that they really were just killed off one by one. And as you said, that really enabled the rest of the snowball to come through.
Yeah, it does feel that this region's matches are a bit shorter than in Europe. Do you think compositions are the ones that are a big factor to it?
Oh yeah, because if you have those tanky lineups that we've seen plenty of in Europe, of course they have a lot more HP as well, and some of those fights can drag on, as said, a little bit of a laser show with Coalescent, really just making sure those teams also stay healthy throughout those prolonged team fights. But it's really awesome to see the North American side be more aggressive and more flashy plays happen.
That definitely allows for more flashy plays, so to say. Now, are you surprised by any of the results we've seen today?
Well, I did expect Kungarna to really pick it up and show or have a much better showing compared to their Beat Invitational performance. I'm really surprised as to how well they've really already improved in such a short time. Really not only playing really well on an individual level, Hardblue definitely stepping it up, as we said, on that Diva, but also their coordination and discipline really being top-notch.
Yeah, it is impressive to see that, considering that they haven't won a single map out of winner bracket and loser bracket in the Beat Invitational, but they do seem to have a great structure in the team, considering they have a lot of staff and they also have a lot of players, which makes them very versatile. And now it seems that their hard work is somewhat paying off, as they're already doing like 180 degrees, I'd say, difference compared to that tournament.
And you want to preferably get another win on the board here, because looking forward, they still have to face the likes of Fusion Academy or Fusion University, who definitely look to be probably the strongest team in the tournament with those superstars in their lineup. But even the likes of their last opponent, which will be, of course, coming up I don't believe it's not tomorrow, but soon enough, will
The
still
last
be
day of the group.
a tougher choice compared to the likes of LCG.
Yeah, but now looking back, I would say that teams should be ready for Fusion University, as they are probably everyone is going to kind of analyze their play, and now it might not be that easy as it was in the PT Invitational, so to say.
But you have to add the caveat that it also means they had more practice time, so they might have other things up their sleeve.
Yeah, that is true, but I mean, everyone's seen their play now, and you know, when you show basically what you have in your hand, it's kind of easier to make strats to counter it, so to say. Now, the match seems to be ready. Heroics and Brunch, take it away.
Jumping into Anubis. Second time now for Kungarna. We're seeing pretty much the same exact setup from them. As Chain comes back onto the roster in place of Vita Coco. Still playing the Winston between the two. We haven't seen much flexing in that regard, but again, just waiting to see if we'll see some different gears. And, you know, defensively, I really liked to see, you know, what we saw from Chain on Anubis. But even going on to Gibraltar, Vita Coco was doing much the same thing. So I'm curious to see as, you know, Group A goes along and, you know, perhaps we see Kungarna popping off a little bit and making their way into playoffs, how they're going to be taking and handling both of these tanks who are both obviously very talented and share what is quite a similar skill set and hero pool, obviously. So I'm curious because so far we just haven't seen that real big gear shift that you would like, or that you would tend to see in like an Overwatch League type tank subbing, where you have, you know, your aggressive tank and your more reserved. Both of them seem capable of playing both to a pretty stellar degree, I would say, so far.
And when it comes to the defensive side, this composition overall looking more similar to something that the EU side preferred overall. As said, we'll have their Mercy available, as well as the Zenyatta on that high ground, which is a different position considering what the likes of Eagle Gaming usually preferred with their Zenyatta's positioning. But at the very least, this does allow them to have a good potential hold if they decide to dive right in, and they will, making it a 1-for-1 so far, 5v5. One member each side going down, but Desire is going to be finally going down to Paintbrush, but one tick already achieved for this offensive side of Kungarna, looking to potentially getting more, but Hobbs getting the D-suit. Sugarfree finding another kill onto Jesus, make that a second one onto Hardblue. It will be them once again, rather, for the first time here in this first team fight, holding off.
But once again, in terms of perhaps, you know, some of the displays that we've seen from them defensively so far, but Little Menace coming away with a Valkyrie now, and he got a lot of the healing off in that last fight. Now he's going to be able to do even more because of the forking that you get, the chaining of the heals and the damage boosting. Once you actually pull the Valk out, that could be very important in this next fight. They gave away one tick, almost two, but as they get aggressive, Chain actually falls off. He's not going to be able to continue contesting up on the high ground.
And already Sugarfree picking up the first kill of the fight will be good. Hobbs finds a second one onto Jur. And just like that, they should be able to once again hold on here, as Sugarfree will hold on to his Riptide for now. But a little pressure coming out of Haku, who will be fighting that one out in the 1v1 duel against the Junkrat. But he will win that one in the end. However, he should go down. And even with that single final kill coming out, we will see Little Menace just commit that Resurrect resource just to make sure they will potentially have another good hold here.
30-second cooldown though, so this might be an opportunity for them if they find a pick early on. Obviously, they won't be able to commit to just diving onto the Mercy, who will likely be rezzing it because she doesn't have a res anymore. He doesn't have it. So coming up in 7 seconds, he will though. They're taking their sweet time with this one, and Hobbs coming back over with his Widow pick, trying to get a better angle as they jump in. Again, Shane going to be thrown off that high ground. Hawk going to fall down. They're going to get the second tick, and now it's ults coming out, particularly the Riptire from Sugarfree. Won't find anything. Self-destruct, though, going for it as Hardblue goes out of the mech from that Riptire I was talking about before. Ezire with the blade coming through.
Gets a triple kill. Chain gets another one to Paintbrush. Ezire all over that kill feed as he's going to be able to clean up house and secure this point for Kungarna. And going into that second point, considering the fact that we'll see some swaps from the defensive side of No Clout. They're not gonna have a lot of or rather any ultimates to their name, and as a result, we might just see Kungarna snowball this through, but Haku will make the swap over to the Moira. Izire going over to the Reaper for a second, but back onto the Genji once more.
Fortunate, just losing out a little bit of the ult charge, man. But either way, they're still coming back in, have the pulse bomb. Can Jesus find anything here? He's been very consistent with it so far. Waiting for the opportunity, sticks on to Hypnot, finds the kill, putting pressure onto the back line now, looking for Little Menace. And it's going to be in tandem with Chain, who goes over, helps find that kill. On the other side of things, though, the defense holding on strong. They're all very low, and you would think that with potentially some better target acquisition, they might have been able to take this fight. But with about 1 HP across the board between Hobbs, Hawk, and Sugar Free, they're able to secure the hold and back Kungarna off for now.
And Haku again making another swap, this time onto the Zenyatta. So back on that particular pick, we'll see whether or not will be more effective looking forward, as Sugar Free getting close to that Riptire alongside Paintbrush, having that Transcendence in this next team fight means that they should make another good hold and potentially get another minute off of the clock here for Kungarna. But getting a kill to Sugar Free off into that backline is going to enable the rest of his team to really collapse onto the point. Jesus will get a kill onto Paintbrush Chain, onto his opponent, or onto his opposing Winston, and now Luminous going down as well. It's going to be all about Kungarna on this point. One tick achieved. We'll see Sugar Free come out with that Riptire, however, already being spotted out. He says it's not going to find any targets just yet. We'll continue to roll through. It's going to find 2 big ones on both of those supports, and that should be enough to potentially shut down this push eventually.
He did in the last fight. He'll do it again here with those support kills he just got. They were able to get back in there. They lost out on 2 of the ticks on that second objective. And they could possibly lose the last one in this next fight. But for now, they're still alive, Brunch. I mean, look at what they've got at their disposal as well. They've got some defensive ults to really kind of make the most of it. They've got Primal Rage. They've got health resets on both tanks. They've got both of their support ults. This might be an opportunity for them to make yet another hold and potentially take some ults out of the equation for the attacking team.
Especially since they're going to be able to get a first kill, second kill. Those supports definitely being the prime targets here for No Clout. Means that they're going to push them away, take even more time off that. 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining now, and again, those resources, those ultimates still in favor of No Clout, means that things are not looking too hot for Kungarna, potentially looking into this next one to go for with another eco push just to force some of them out.
Hardblue not having that self-destruct in this fight, I think might have been a mistake for him to try to remech like that. Could have just easily taken the death, got back into it, would have had another opportunity to just zone them off of the objective with 1 tick left to cap. That could potentially just kind of secure things. So I would like to have seen him hold on to that, but nonetheless, backing off again, Kungarna. And now we're going to be seeing No Clout almost ready to go with every single ultimate at their disposal. Hobbs only 5% away to having that pulse bomb, as he's going to be looking to try to secure that and then make use of it in this next fight. But we'll have to see what the aggression can get done from Kungarna. They have a lot of opportunities here, a lot of options as the blade is ready, but they have to get things done quick.
Oh, and Desire singled out by that Winston was the target of the Discord as well, and Jesus will go down. Sugar Free with a huge triple kill again with that Riptire is gonna shut down this push. And considering the fact they have the Transcendence as well as the self-destruct still available, late kill onto Hardblue, this should be a lot of stalling potential for No Clout going forward with 49 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, Sugar Free pulled that out at a good time, but the Riptire, I mean, they were already going to be able to pull them out. They were already backing out when the Riptire found those kills. That's why he was able to find that cluster so easily. But nonetheless, it still takes a little bit of extra time off. But now they only are down to 2 ultimates. They have their self-destruct and they have the Transcendence. Now trying to keep Hypnot alive. They have Haku and Izire to worry about, but Izire has been shut down again, not being able to pull the blade out. Let's see if they can sustain now long enough for him to come back through.
As we'll see the Transcendence spot by both sides. However, no other kills coming through just yet. We'll look to see Kungarna potentially just, as you said, stall things around until Zyre's back in the game with the blade. Good to go. Jerry's gonna find another kill onto Hobbs, so that could be something to enable them as Hardblue finds one into Sugarfree. The Coalescence is gonna come out from the defensive side. Low Menace looking to do something with it, but it's gonna be Chain finding a kill with that Primal Rage. The blade is gonna come out to play. Doesn't get a target just yet. It's gonna be the rest of his teams getting the kills, but it is going to be Kungarna finding that second point in the end.
In overtime at that. Finally, Izire was able to come through with the blade. Was taken out time and time again. Obviously, not exactly the same performance that we saw from his attack on Gibraltar, but still they were able to get it done. Now it's about holding on defense. When we saw them on Anubis before, they didn't have, I guess you could call it a stellar display from their attacking phase, but they looked good on defense, and that's what really mattered. Now we'll have to see if they can kind of continue that effort, and we'll see if perhaps they can make a good hold here on the first point yet again. Chain, of course, going to be holding quite forward with Harblu, and it looks like we're going to need a pause real quick for Kungarna. It looks like their comms system is lagging a little bit, but you know, while we're in the pause, we have a little bit more time to talk about it. Because, you know, looking back at their first point hold, I think it was more an issue of what we saw the attacking team pulling out, as opposed to, you know, what exactly the defense of Kungarna was doing. Remember, they were just doing that kind of poking containment type style versus a team that was pulling out an Orisa, and they were getting caught in these environments that really did not cater to them at all, and lost about 3 minutes off of the clock before they finally adjusted. So we won't see that happening at all from No Clout, and I think that might spell something of what's to come in terms of No Clout probably looking a lot better on this first point, and maybe being able to set themselves up with a good pace for second with some momentum. They might be able to take this map here.
And considering the fact that you would think they will be expecting the Sombra pick coming out of Haku, could potentially once again make sure that they will have an advantageous potential first team fight to secure that checkpoint to start things off. And overall, they did have a lot of good showings with the likes of Sugarfree on that Junkrat and Hobbs on that Tracer. Not as flashy as J3 as say, but still overall definitely playing well. And I'm once again just mostly curious as to whether or not Haku will find the same amount of success on that Sombra pick, knowing that on the other side they most definitely should expect it, and they most definitely should be also playing around it with a different composition.
And it's good to see Jesus back to his old playing potential on the Tracer, especially when you consider that Zachary, his old teammate, is now in the mix in the tournament. So really wants to put on a performance there. But Haku, of course, going to be playing this Sombra again. Going to go for the hack and take some damage initially, and be able to find some healing for himself. And now they're backing up to the point here.
Already Zyre getting a good kill onto Lil Menace, the prime target. The lack in healing could really lessen the staying power here for the offensive side, but Hawk finds the D-suit and the kill onto Chain, so maybe they can still do it as Hypnot gets a kill onto Harble. No more tanky lineup here for the side of Kungarna, but Haku and Jesus still answering with kills on the tanks themselves. However, Sugarfree is gonna finally go down right before he did manage to get a kill onto Jesus, but overall Hobbs still denied when it comes to those sidelines.
Able to secure that first point. Izire on this Genji, very close to Blade. Need to put some pressure onto Hobbs here to deny him to some degree. The sight lines are mostly being denied right now, but he's still getting off some damage. And as the infra sight comes up, you start being able to find out where this Sombra is hiding. EMP almost at the ready. They're going to look for an opportunity here. As the infra sight comes out, Haku will be detected, but he will still get off the EMP.
Is it going to be good enough? The sound barrier will be used defensively. Look at the D-suit Hawk. Hobbs will be taken down by Azire in the end. And Little Menace now going in with the Coalescence. However, it's a little too late as Azire is going to have the blades, going to pull it out, and he will pick up a kill, a second one. Add that onto Hawk. And with that, they will manage to shut down this push once again. But the thing is, not entirely sure if he really needed to do that. If he really needed to use that Dragon Blade in that fight. It looked like it was over pretty much overall. And going to this next one, Paintbrush will have that sound barrier of his own.
EMP almost ready again. They're going to get aggressive. Haku undetected back in the back line. Matrix down for Hawk as he gets hacked out. EMP not yet ready, and Hobbs is just taking picks up on arches right now. You'll see Haku still looking for that opportunity to throw out the EMP, make some work of this, and actually does finally get it off. Trying to get away from Hobbs, but Hobbs finds the picks. And now it's Izire who needs to come in and try to turn this back around, but I just don't see it happening. Control easily an advantage to Clout at the moment, or rather no Clout. Possibly right now moderate Clout, and maybe if they make it into the playoffs and do well there, they will be mad Clout.
And some swaps will be prompted out from the side of no Clout as they will go over to their Reaper. We've seen him being picked quite often when it comes to the second point, whereas on the defensive side, interestingly enough, Haku will be sticking to the Sombra, so we'll see whether or not he's gonna find a lot more success on this part of the map, as we'll see overall Hobbs looking to do a lot of work on that Tracer, looking to push the defensive side in a bad spot as Paintbrush finds a kill onto Zaire, but Harbler and Jesus still answering with a kill on D-Suit onto Hawk. Will look to push them away, at the very least for now.
Really trying to disrupt Izire here in this series. They really want to try to lessen his impact, especially after what just happened to them on Gibraltar. And Haku now on this Sombra yet again, looking to try to control these engagements with these EMPs. The hacks coming out, trying to shut down Hawk, so he doesn't have that defense matrix to keep everybody safe, particularly the backline from J3, who is now looking, hunting, trying to secure a kill, tracking down rather, the Tracer of Hobbs and trying to take that duel and get an advantage there.
And a lot of ultimates available for them means that they should be looking to get another good defensive hold. Soundbear will be the choice. Jer picking up that one as he picks up a kill onto Sugar-Free too. And J3 now getting another one on him. Now Jer, the bloodthirsty support on that Lucio, will be able to find a third one onto Lil Menace. I think the rest of his team probably is giving him that one, but hey, well deserved. Definitely dancing around on that Lucio, getting a lot of work done for his team.
Yeah, he's got to be happy about that, because especially as a Lucio, you just don't see, you know, your Lucio face all over the kill feed like that unless it's, you know, an environmental kill or something. So I'm sure he's going to be feeling pretty good about that. But yeah, kind of handed to him by his team to some degree as well. But, you know, he deserves it after what he's been able to do. Now, Blade ready for Izire. They're going to go to get very aggressive off of this EMP, and they don't even have to throw anything out to secure these kills. That's very important, as, of course, as we know, the EMP is very quick to generate, and we'll see already 20% after Chain grabs that Mega. Now 30% for Haku coming away from that fight. So health pack control looking really good for Kungarna, and EMPs securing fights without the use of anything else.
At the very least, though, for the offensive side, now it's a little bit of a time for them to really make the most out of this sound barrier before the EMP comes out. A self-destruct being used. Blade is going to come out, and it's going to be all about this lineup of Kungarna once again as J3 picks up a pulse bomb kill onto Hypnotger. Why not? Another kill coming out of him as well. And another team fight win, another team wipe at that. Means that Kungarna will continue to hold, and Blade, self-destruct, as well as pulse bomb were used. We know how fast those pulse bombs can really charge up, and considering the sound barrier was committed as well, Haku, if he does have that EMP into this next team fight, things are still looking really good for them.
Sugar-Free will have the Blade soon, though, and they need to try to put some pressure on him now. He's gotten down to about half HP, and we're seeing Chain really putting the pressure onto him if he can. Primal Rage comes out, Coalescence to follow, keeping everybody alive for now. Hobbs now trying to find a kill in the backline, but they're backed up. Spacing, of course, acquired by Kungarna, and in the meantime, it's Haku coming together with another EMP. Will be able to shut down the Blade perhaps, but they're still finding kills. They don't need the ability to Swift Strike to find the kills with the Blade. He's all over the place, and it looks like No Clout has found an opening, found a hole to exploit Kungarna. Kungarna now trying to come back into it. Izire gonna be the first one to come through. Blade ready for him, but he needs to find his health back, but won't find it as he gets killed off there. And now it's Chain's turn. Can he come in? Can he get something done? They're trying to hold out. 120 on the clock. They need to get it down under a minute so that they have an opportunity themselves to try to make a first point attack, get something done. But Hawk will shut that down. Perhaps 10 more seconds that they have to hold out. Izire trying to make anything happen. 7 seconds before it's all done, where they're gonna either draw or lose. 2 now on the clock. Haku coming back in. They somehow get it under a minute. Now it's about the question of, can you get it done? Can you finally hold this out? Can you get control on the point? Can you develop these ultimates, get them up, and finally swing the fight? It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, though. Jer just hanging on, gonna get thrown off the point. Now it's Chain again on the objective as well. We'll see the EMP come out. Haku will likely fall, and that will be that. 1:39 on the clock, but a minute acquired by Kungarna.
That was really, really close there for Kungarna. However, the stalls, those staggered kills, really still paying off for them in the end. Playing well around it. Jer definitely still all too elusive on that Lucio, and now that we will be going over to their offensive side once again. At the very least for No Cloud, they did have a really good hold for the most part when it comes to that first point, so you gotta think that they will have another advantage here going into this one, but man, that was a stall, wasn't it?
I'm actually pretty curious about what we're potentially seeing Jesus on. Is he going to come through with the Widow?
You could play it. We've seen it in the past.
The thing is, I mean, yeah, we have seen it in the past, but when you have Izire in the lineup, do you want to commit that, especially if you want to bring out a Tracer or something, or you want to play a Genji instead to kind of, be more aggressive, or how do you want to play this? Because at the moment, obviously, we're waiting on what we're going to see from Haku, but it looks like it's going to be a tank lineup with Harbly bringing out the Zarya, and anybody that wants to see his Roadhog should still be at least somewhat pleased by the fact that he's brought out a Zarya, another character that he put a lot of time into even months ago, and looks good on that in my opinion as well. So you should be happy at least that he's still, being able to flex off of the Diva and playing some other heroes to be able to show himself off a little bit now on the Zarya.
They will be on the quad tank, and with that, they will just go ahead, get on the point already, forcing the defensive side of No Cloud at a potentially disadvantageous position. But Sugar Free gets their first kill of that engage. One onto Izire at that, and as a result, with a 6v5 already in their favor, they should be looking good moving forward. But the Riptire is already going to be charged, not going to find any kills. However, J-Free gets one onto Paintbrush before he goes down himself, but no ticks achieved. Means that overall, it's still all in favor of No Cloud with 10 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, Inversight up for Hobbs, but Paintbrush falls. And now we're seeing ultimates coming online, particularly the Coalescence. They're going to surge back in, try to pressure down Hypnot. He's kind of stuck way away from the rest of his team. Haku going to fall, and it looks like we will see Kungarna be taking this fight, but we'll have to see if anybody can turn this back around. Hawk up on the high ground. A lot of control to the attacking squad as Harblu getting ever closer now to the Graviton. But should he actually pull it out is the question. Does he need to pull it out as they're pressuring out the back line? He has it ready. Graviton goes down. He only catches 2 in it. Actually going to be 4. Overtime still ticking. They're finding some kills, but someone is still on the point contesting it. And they will finally find that kill along with that last one onto Hobbs. They will secure in overtime the first objective. And remember how important it was that they brought that attack down below a minute to allot themselves that 1 minute, and now secured the 3rd point on the board for themselves, going forward to see if they can make it a 4th.
That could definitely happen unless Sugar Free has something to say about it with the Riptire. That is basically the biggest thing that I'm going to look out for here from the defensive side, because with Hobbs now swapping back to the Reaper, no real ultimates are available just yet, and these are getting a kill on the Paintbrush. It will be big. However, can the Riptire find the targets? It will be 1. Hawk finds 1 with the self-destruct as well. Coalescence is going to come out of Haku, so we might still see at the very least 1 tick or anything that this lineup of Kungarna can get. They will take on this point. However, it's all about the defensive side for now, as the whole Hog, even though it's going to come through, it's not going to be effective. Hawk finds a kill onto that Roadhog, and overall, with the kill feed being lit up in favor of the defensive side, even the Earth Shatter coming through is not going to be enough, unfortunately, for Kungarna, as they will manage to, at the very least, get 3 points on the board.
And they're playing their hearts out, man. Remember, No Cloud is the team that took third behind Fusion University and Envision in the Beat Invitational. So this is a strong team, and they're only looking to get better from here. And Kungarna is still able to kind of pull out these kind of performances against this team after looking very different, I would say, in their performance in Beat last week as well. So definitely interested in seeing how they continue this. Now it's their turn to defend. They have 39 more seconds to work with on the side of No Clout, but we'll have to see. I mean, the defense was pretty staunch, I would say, pretty strong from Kungarna. Even on point one, they've looked very solid. Playing this kind of poking dive type comp, still utilizing the Sombra, even on this first point. And they've looked good so far, controlling these packs, really getting these EMPs out, making good use of them as well.
And not only that, but they managed to somehow, in most of those fights, really single out Lil Menace. And remember, without Moira in that lineup, yes, you have all those tanking members, but that lone Lucio will be looking to potentially use that speed boost for as much as possible rather than the healing aura. So going into this one, once again, if they can find those prime targets here for the Kungarna, they could definitely still win it out.
Defend objective A.
So now as they go with that tank composition, again, just looking to control the point, but this is that same kind of thing, although luckily for them, they have the Reinhardt as opposed to the Orisa. So this might be the big difference maker that they were looking for to be able to try to control this a little bit better. Now already the defense has found a kill onto a support. Little Menace will fall, but Ezire will fall as well. Look at this though. The Lucio cannot keep them all alive by himself for too much longer. They need to be able to secure some kills here, and it's Jer picking them up at the moment. Ezire will be coming back into play pretty soon, but it's going to come down to the Sombra. Can Haku actually just get these hacks off, find the kills? But Jesus, man!
He picks up a kill off of the pulse bomb. The EMP is going to come through, and they might just still do it as Jesus is going to get another kill onto Hobbs. Now Zari coming back from spawn is going to get a swift strike kill. 45 seconds remaining, but they do stabilize with no picks, or rather no ticks achieved here for No Cloud. And considering they only have the whole hog, sound barrier should come out soon enough, but Jer already available with his, who really, man, on the defensive side, he was able to get not only a couple of really good kills secured onto the likes of Lil Menace, but overall staying alive was really good for them as well.
Approaching with the sound barrier now. They do have the sound barrier on the defense as well. Harblue going around, but actually going to get shut down. Hypnot lays them on the floor. Hawk going to follow through with a nice kill onto Ezire again, denying the blade from Ezire. It's going to be Chain trying to come through, trying to deny this. We're down to 3 seconds left now as Chain is looking like he's going to fall. EMP almost ready for Haku. Can he sustain long enough to make it happen? He finally does get it up, but he needs the health before he engages as Chain will be pulling out, it looks like, and Haku likely disengaging himself after taking the fall. And now it will be another overtime take. And potentially we're looking at either No Clout winning it here with a 33% first take, or a draw as Haku pulls out the EMP and potentially stifles the attack from No Clout.
But I'm excited to see that no matter what, basically we're gonna go to that third map. We'll be heading to Nepal later as we'll have a look, see whether or not No Cloud can still get this win on the board. Hobbs getting closer to that. Graviton EMP is gonna find a lot of targets. No pulse bomb. It's gonna come through. J3 gets a kill onto Lil Menace at that, but Sugar Free answers one of his own. Ezire though is gonna pick up the decent as well as the kill. And as overtime kicks through, it will be a draw on Anubis. What a close series.
Kungarna make the stop after they were held for so long. 3-3 on Temple of Anubis. And like you said, man, we're going to Nepal. Either way we saw it, it was happening. But it's going to be Kungarna up 1-0 in the series at the moment. And as we go to Nepal, we'll have to see if it's going to be a situation where we have to go into a tiebreaker map with No Clout taking it, or if Kungarna is going to be able to secure that map, take the second series of the day, and really solidify themselves as a team to look out for in Group A.
what a great match, Brunch. First draw of the North America. I was very impressed with Sugar Free. He was landing so many riptires, and also at the end, Jesus was playing great. He got some crucial tracer kills, but in the end, it wasn't enough for his team to win. It ended up in a draw. Definitely a great match.
I mean, at the very least, they still get the draw, which is important because even if they lose Nepal, they have another shot through Lijiang, which is this would be potentially the deciding map in that case. But overall, I gotta give it to Jur on the side of Kungarna, really playing big on that Lucio. Even when it comes to that last defensive hold, he somehow managed to stay alive, use those walls to his advantage, and even pick up those kills or clean up those kills as well. And overall, really looking strong. Of course, on the other side of Kungarna as their opponent, no Clout, still retaliating, still making it very difficult for them.
Yeah, as you said, Jer was really using his positioning to the fullest extent, I say, and he also got a triple kill at one point, which was very interesting to see.
Definitely all him.
Yeah, it was a great support play, to say the least. Now, coming up next is Nepal. Do you think we are going to see the fourth map?
It's gonna be curious, mostly because of the fact that Kungarna's been, for the most part, on point. But this is where things can change in terms of those compositions. We might see a more focus on the likes of those quad tanks, depending on which part of Nepal we're at. And considering we've seen plenty of Pharah on Village in the past, I'm curious to see whether or not some substitutions will come in for either side.
We will see. The match seems to be ready. Casters, take it away.
Starting things off here, Nepal. This could decide whether or not we go into game number 4, or map number 4 rather. And now as we start things off, Ezire will of course be taking Voil on in the air. Between the Pharah Mercies being displayed here, and Hypnot gonna be falling quick to Jesus, and Ezire really putting the pressure down early now.
Already making it a 6v5 is going to be very difficult. One direct hit did connect Paintbrush, and this is what a kill onto J3, so pretty good one at that. But considering the fact that Hog got desuited as well, this should be first point going over to Kungarna, as rest of the other side will be looking to regroup and just get a better approach into this next team fight.
Voil has really gotten the lion's share of the direct rockets so far between the two Pharahs, but really the ground control is what's winning it for Kungarna at the moment. They're really putting the pressure onto Hypnot a lot. Vita Coco is taken down, but creates a lot of space for his team. Now it's going to be up to Hobbs. He has the pulse bomb ready. Voil finds Ezire in the sky, so as Hobbs looks to try to secure the stick, he already has the advantage in this fight.
Oh, but J3 retaliates with one kill onto Paintbrush. A sticky at that off of the pulse bomb, making things very difficult here for the other side. But the counter pulse bomb coming out of Hobbs will look to, at the very least, desuit Harblu did use that self-destruct. Will not have that extra paramech for now, as Vita Coco will at the very least take down Voil. Little Man is finding a kill onto Ezire, but Haku will be able to bring it back up as they will continue to brawl it out on the point. Getting really close to that swap, but it's not going to happen just yet. Still an all-out brawl on top of it as Jer finds another kill onto Little Menace this time around. And the Rocket Brush from Ezire should seal the deal. They will once again hold on to the point.
Their ability to just maintain their composure in that fight was so impressive, to allow time for Ezire to come back after getting taken down by Voil with a direct. He was able to just come back with the barrage and swing that fight back in their favor. Now Kungarna looking poised to at least take this one. They have to win this fight here though, and this is going to be difficult for them, as Paintbrush, who is holding on with 1 HP at the moment, healing himself up, does have the sound barrier in this one.
Oh, but Hypnot is going to be the first one to go down, and with a Primal Rage at that, definitely not what you're looking for, as it's already 86% built on top of this point. Things are looking dire potentially here for No Cloud, but still Hobbs looking to do something, gets a kill onto Jer. The Rocket Burst is going to come down, but no kills achieved, as he will get the desuit at the very least. Ezire, though, being on top of that one, finds 2 kills. Little Menace is going to bring Vol back up, but the question is it going to be enough? As you will see him get a kill in the end onto Haku. Harblu finds that kill in return though, and Jer once again with a kill onto Little Menace will make things very difficult for No Cloud, as you will see J3 still contesting the point, but it's finally gonna go the way of No Cloud.
But now they have to win every single fight, and so far Harblu has done so much to help secure the Pharah fight between Voil and Ezire. We saw the barrage come out from Voil, and Harblu was right there to just soak up all of that pressure. Yeah, he lost his mech, but Ezire found the kill, and that's what, at the end of the day, is usually more important. So now going into this next one, Barrage, ready for Ezire, not for Voil. We'll have to see what kind of position he can find himself in and potentially find some picks and some use out of that Barrage.
Self-destruct used pretty early alongside that sound barrier. No real advantage achieved so far, as Voil will go very low. Will not get killed off, however, now finally goes down to J-Free, and as a result, the Valk will be popped by Lil Menace, but will he get punished? No, he does manage to get the Resurrect through. Hawk finds one kill onto Vita Coco, as we will look to still make things work for the rest of his team. Paintbrush will be going down, however, but Voil's still on top of the game, as he will get a kill onto Harblu, looking for more. Hawk will get a kill onto Ezire himself. Now with another one to Hawk, it will be no Cloud, once again holding strong on this point.
They're able to stifle that attack and then also pull out some ultimates in the process. And J3 caught in the back line now as he's in a duel between himself and Hobbs. Not looking good in it, but at least for now, he's pulling out the Lucio in this fight. So now with the 64 engagement, we'll have to see if the rest of his team can find something. But Hobbs secures the kill onto Vita Coco, but he gets res back up. Haku finds that res, and now it's time for the Barrage. Can they find anything here? Voil will not secure the kill, but the self-destruct will take Voil down and out. And now the Mercy sacrifices himself to try to bring back Voil, but Ezire with 2 quick directs finds the kill again onto the Pharah, and it looks like now Kungarna can finally take the point back.
Just Hobbs desperately trying to hold on to this point. He will go down, however, as J-Free gets that kill. And with these late staggered kills, it's disastrous for No Cloud. This should be Kungarna winning out in the end. Even though the Palm Rage is used for Hypnot, he's just going to delay the inevitable overtime, as said, at halfway there. But Voil gets 1 kill at the very least for Ezire, so they're still looking to fight this out. However, as said, it's all about Kungarna, as it's going to be dumb in the kill feed. Vita Coco gets that pulse bomb, but will not be enough. And with a very close round to start things off here on Nepal, it will be Kungarna with a 1-0 advantage.
Really a back and forth fight between controlling the objective and trying to steal it away. And that one, now we'll have to see what happens on Shrine here, because this is potentially series, this is rather series point. If Kungarna takes it here, it's all over. But if we see No Clout take this map and then somehow take the next on Nepal to take the map, we'll see them go into Lijiang Tower. And after taking Nepal and having some momentum and looking better as time goes on, then perhaps they'll be able to have a real good shot at being able to take this series and swing it back in their favor. But as things start off, we'll see a tank strat here being displayed by Kungarna. Ezire on the Junkrat. But look at this. More of a dive, kind of, rather a counter dive, of course, with that soldier being played by No Clout.
We'll see whether or not it's going to pay off. At the very least, they will have a lot of targets to really build up those ultimates off of. But if we will see the hooks come through from Harblu on that Roadhog, it will make it a 6v5. And already Kungarna looking to get that first point cap once again.
They're just doing this for the hype, man. They're just doing this for the hype. Harblu finally being able to be back on the Roadhog, and I think that's a big reason why they wanted to play Jesus in this map here, because as we saw before, when Harblu, on their attack with Anubis, Jesus can actually play the Diva. It seems as though we're going to need a pause, as I think everybody in the lobby is lagging, and actually I was seeing it a little bit myself, and now it is finally going down. Had it in spec myself. So that's going to go down. It looks like it's leveled off, so we're going to have both teams be ready to go. Weird little latency issue there, but nonetheless, again, having Jesus in this roster to allow for Harblu to play the Hog is massive for them, and I'm really excited to see him on this Hog, to see his performance on the character that brought him so much fame, or perhaps infamy maybe, just about a year ago.
And Voil will look to go onto the Pharah, already being able to charge up towards 84% in that Rocket Barrage. So a lot of those juicy targets means that he should have the Rocket Barrage going forward, but the hook is going to connect. However, the kill is not going to come through just yet, but the Riptire might be the follow-up, as Transcendence will be used pretty early. J-Free loses the suit for now, but as Transcendence will time out The Riptide is gonna come through, gonna look for those targets, but Hawk and Boyle are gonna come out on top as he gets another good kill of the Rocket Barrage. Harblue answers 1 kill of his own. Now pops the whole Hawk, but the Sound Barrier is gonna keep the rest of the other side safe as Hobbs is gonna be able to pick up 2 kills of his own. Paintbrush with another one. Harblue though, not going down without a fight, will get Hypnot in the end.
So now a switch up. Harblue probably going back over to the Diva. So unfortunately, the show is over, chat. You will not be able to see him any longer, for now at least, on the Roadhog, and we'll see everything adjusted. Jesus. I mean, we're seeing a full dive in effect now as they're just going to jump right onto the point. They're looking for a target, and Haku held on to Coalescence in the last fight, so they're going to want to pull it out here. Pulse Bomb comes out, but they should be able to secure Harblue's mech, but that's not the case. He goes out.
And now Voil getting that D-suit will enable a lot of things here for this side of No Cloud to pick up 2, or rather 1 kill, but it will be answered with one of their own onto Paintbrush here for Kungarna, and as J3 gets the D-suit onto Hawk, things are still looking potentially good for Kungarna, as they will still be on the point, getting close to getting that cap back in their favor. J3 gets another one onto Hobbs. In the meantime, he gets another onto Hawk as well. Harblue cleaning up another kill onto Hypnot. Will be Kungarna getting the point again, and considering the fact they do have both supports ultimates good to go in the next team fight, things might be looking very bad here for No Cloud, with 74% already being built up in favor of Kungarna.
They just have so much healing between the Moira and the Lucio, especially if they just, you know, kind of stay condensed on the point. You have to worry about the Pharah, but other than that, like, you just have such a, you know, an advantage in terms of overall staying power, just being able to heal everything out. You're generating ultimates so quickly. If Ezire can stay alive here, they have the Sound Barrier, so that's going to easily happen, and Coalescence will be ready as well. They're going to be backing off Hypnot as he falls. Paintbrush now alone without help. 99% overtime is ticking now. Self-destruct coming out, and Hobbs, he's the lone attacker now for No Clout. It will be GG's called in the chat by Little Menace. Overtime ticks, and just like that, Kungarna takes it 2-0 with a draw on Anubis, winning out both of their series today.
And what a stellar performance coming out of them, especially considering their previous overall play in the Beta Invitational. Even Ezire coming out really big on the fair here, but really well done overall. I think managing the fact that they managed to shut down Paintbrush early on in that last team fight really sealed the deal for them there.
Kungarna looking in a very good shape, I'd say. It's interesting to see how many compositions they can bring, because they seem very comfortable on many picks. We've seen Ezire on Genji, on Junkrat, on Widow. He's been looking amazing. Also Jesus, he's been very stellar on Tracer.
Yeah, it's not only him, as Hurix pretty much just said. It's great to see the fact that J3 can pick up the Diva if need be alongside a bunch of other heroes, and of course Harblue's Roadhog still being as menacing as ever. Proved a bit of a problem at the start. We did see some